Okay. So today we are going to be playing with our stamping foam. Okay. All right, so these are the cards that I made at home, and this one was using an embossing folder. Let me see this one, and it's called Gracious Leaves. So I used that one for this card, and then I used this stencil right here, an older stencil, and it's called Splash, and that's what I used here. And then this right here, I used this die, and it's called Magnolia Bloom. And this card here, I used a stamp, and it's by Studio Cadia, and it's called Lovely Blooms. So we have these in stock. The only thing I don't have in stock is that stencil, but I have everything else in stock. But I'm also going to use some different ones because you can see how these ones turned out. So I thought I'd use some different ones today. All right. So what you need is you need your stamping foam. Now the stamping foam, as I said before, we divided it up. We didn't really see that you needed 4 of them, so we divided it up to 2 so that we could have 24 packs. We do have a few left, but not, I don't know, we only have about 4 left, I think, 4 packs left. We do have more in order, and they're $3.99 for 2, okay? All right, so you need that. So, and I also have written some instructions, just your basic instructions on how to use it. So I'll send those out tonight when I go home. Okay, so what I did was I watched a couple of videos. I watched Jennifer's, and I watched Jennifer McGuire, and I watched Simon Hurley's. And Jennifer suggested putting it on an acrylic block. Now I tried it without an acrylic block, and it certainly works. But I thought you had better pressure with the acrylic block. It is not necessary. It does work without an acrylic block, so don't panic that you don't have an acrylic block, okay? But I happen to have one, so I put it on. And all I did was tape it with repositional tape on the sides, and it holds it really well, okay? The other thing you need is baby wipes. All right, so you definitely need baby wipes, and that's to clean it off. And you need a heat source. So I'm just using my embossing gun. If you have a heat gun, you can use it. The heat doesn't get as hot, so there's less chance of burning, which I did right here, because you can burn it, okay? Whoops. Something's happening here with my camera. There we go. Okay, so I'm just using my heat gun. I also found that when you're heating it, you do have to heat it for 15 seconds. You don't want it any less, and you don't want it any more. So, and I'm just using, like I said, a heat gun. If you had a heat tool, which is different than a heat gun, doesn't get as hot, or if you had the 2-speed heat gun, I would probably try it on the lowest heat first and just do it. You might have to do it 20 seconds, but at least the heat is not so intense. The other thing I used was, let me see, you should have your papers ready to stamp on. But most importantly, you need to have whatever you're going to use for your impression, you need to have it ready because you want to be able to stamp on that immediately. So the first one I'm going to use is this embossing folder. Now this is a 3D embossing folder, so it's very deep. So it's going to give a really nice impression. When you're using an embossing folder, you've got two different stamps, two different impressions. You have the positive and you also have the negative. So you can get two different looks out of this, and I'll show you that. Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I just have to do one thing here and we'll get going.
Oh, okay.
Alrighty. Now I'm using Nina Solar White 80-pound paper. I find that worked very well. It's a little heavier, but you can use other cardstocks also, and it's just fine. Okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to start. Oh, and another thing you need is a mini mister. Where is it? Because you're going to be spraying
Thank you.
water on. I found you get a better impression with the water. Okay? Now, the inks I'm going to choose for my folder are, let's see, I think I'll go with the blues. Let me see here.
I was looking for something like this that I can put on the
So I'm going to use peacock feathers. I'm going to use,
And you don't want to take the binding apart.
Well, it's all apart right now. All of it is different. They're sheet by sheet by sheet. All the sheets are single.
peacock feathers, mermaid lagoon, and then I'm going to put a green in there. I'm going to use twisted citron. So those are the colors I'm going to get ink with. So now I have everything in front of me. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this up for 15 seconds. And I kind of go in a circle. Get it good and heated. I've got a clock in front of me, so I'm timing myself. So I think that's 15 seconds. Okay, and now I immediately want to take this and make the impression on my thing. So you're just I'm gonna stand up here, press it in, like that, and see how you get that impression on there? All right, so there's my impression. So now I'm going to take my inks, and when you are inking, you actually go right directly with your ink pad. So I'm just going to ink some inks on here. And I'm going to put some of this color on. And I found the oxides were really nice for, you need to have like a bright color, so I'm just kind of putting those on. And I might add a bit more of this.
She does like a little class live every day.
So it looks like that, okay?
Tuesday through Saturday.
Whoops.
Oh, great.
Okay, so I think that's good. Got some, maybe pat some more of that on.
Yep.
And it's okay to go over top. It doesn't really do anything to your ink, so there we go, all right? So now I'm gonna take my little mini mister, or you can, if you have the sprayer, you can use that. So I'm just going to mist it. I'll just do it over here. Not a lot. Then you take your paper and you put it down and you press it.
Okay, here are some. Oh, they're different sizes.
And there you go. Isn't that cool? So that's using the embossing folder. All right, so there we go. Now your working space for your background is 3 by 4 1/4. Okay, so I'm just going to put that aside. Now you're going to take this and you are going to wipe it off. And I just used a baby wipe. And it just comes off. Like that. And you don't have to blend colors. You can use just... Now I've used this, I've probably used this sponge 20 times already because I was at home and I was playing around. So I would say I've used it 15 times, I bet. All right, so there, it's wiped off. Now, if you had a microfiber cloth, you could wipe it again, but I found by the time you dried it, I didn't find that step necessary. So now I'm just going to heat it up. And now that impression disappears, and we're ready to do it again. So I'm just going to heat it again for 15 seconds. Okay. And then I'm going to do the other side, and I'll just show you how you can do both sides of an embossing folder. And there's that impression. Okay. So now I'm going to take my inks and I'll just add some green to it. Some Mermaid Lagoon. That was Twisted Citron. I'm going to move some of the blue, and then I'm going to add some peacock. Now you'll notice we're going to get lines on this one because this is the negative part. Okay, so it's not going in. Well, I guess in some of them it did, but some of it didn't. So it's going to be a different look. So I'm going to spray it. And then I'm going to stamp it.
We get old albums in here and we rebuild them, you know, like we take the bindings off and put
And there you go.
pages or whatever.
So you get a different look because this is all white in there. And then, so there's 2 different looks. It's very cool. Okay, so that's an embossing folder. There is another embossing folder I want to show you. Cindy ordered a bunch of the embossing folders and we didn't get them all, but if you want any of these, just let us know. This particular one is called Woven. All right, it's called 3D Woven. You can also put water on these and get them all clean.
But I haven't seen her email time that I was at my place.
My tape is moving around there. Okay, now let's try this new color. I'm going to try the pink. So now I have to heat it up. Okay, I'm just gonna heat it for 15 seconds. And if you do leave it in one spot for too long, you will singe your sponge. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, actually, I'm going to do this one. Okay, so here is my die.
Pull.
So I'm going to do this one. So there's my die. See that? Okay, so now I'm going to take some pink flamingo. No, kitsch flamingo. And I'm going to just do the whole thing because I want to show you you can just do a color if you want. One color. If you don't want to add. So you'll see we're going to get an outline of the flower on our paper. I stand up every time I stamp because I think you get a better pressure on it. So there we go. So that's using a die. All right, so this was this. And I'm going to put this card together and show you what I did on that, okay? All right. Now, I had this embossing folder I wanted to show you. This is a beautiful medallion, and I haven't tried it yet, so I want to try it. So I'll just clean that off. And you can squirt water on this too if you wanted to get, but I find the baby wipes work great. Okay, so there we go. So now I'm going to heat that up. And you'll watch this disappear. For 15 seconds. Okay, now I have my folder ready to go here. I think I'll try it on this side. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this on here. And there we have a medallion. Look at that. Alrighty, I think this one I am going to do some abandoned coral. And some, got the lids on wrong. I'm going to use Crackling Campfire.
Oh my God.
I'm going to use some Crackling Campfire, which is a newer ink. So we'll put that on. And then I'm going to use a lighter one. I'm going to use some abandoned coral. Now, if you do get some lines on it that you don't like, you can use an ink blending tool just to smooth them out. I forgot my foam, so I'm not doing it, but you can do it. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit there. So I used abandoned coral and Crackling Campfire. All right. So I'm just gonna mist that. And stamp it. And there you go. That is using that embossing folder. Beautiful. Okay, now I'm going to try and always pick what you're going to use to have it beside you so that you can make the imprint as quickly as possible. So now I want to show you how to use another die. So this one is a Pink Fresh die, and it's called, what's it called here? Slim Stitches. Okay. So we're going to try this one. I'm going to need some new tape. Even packing tape would be good. All right. Let's heat this one up. And I think we're ready. And there's that lovely impression. This is a beautiful die. Alrighty, what other inks did I bring here? Let's do some greens. We haven't done greens yet. That was Lucky Clover. Now this is a newer one. This is Rustic Wilderness. And I think I might put some cracked pistachio on here just to get some color, brighter color. Okay, there we go. All right, now I'm gonna spritz it. My paper. Woo, look at that one. Very cool. All right, so that's using a die and green inks. Okay, next, I want to show you how to use a stencil. Now I'm using all Distress Oxide inks, but I did bring these inks, Pink Fresh. So let's give them a whirl. So you can see how addicting this is. Okay. Just put that there. Let's heat it up again. Okay, so 15 seconds. Okay. And I'll put it on this stencil. Look at that. Cool, eh? Okay, so let's try these inks. So these are pink brush inks. Whoops. I'm making a mess here. So I'm going to use Tidal Pond. I'm going to give an ombre look. Whoops. Tidal Pond, Mermaid Cove. Mermaid Cove, Aquamarine, and Ocean Breeze. All right, so I'm going to start with Tidal Pond. So I'm going to put that one on. Then I'm going to use Mermaid Cove, just going in a bit. And then I'm going to use, that one goes on there, that one goes on there. And then I'm going to use Aquamarine. And then I'm using Ocean Breeze. Okay. Spritz it with water. So this is pink fresh ink. Ooh, that looks pretty. So that's the ombre look using a stencil. How cool is that? Okay, and one more. I'm going to show you how to use a stamp. I know it sounds silly, using a stamp to make a stamp, but I'll show you what it does. And I clean that off. So mine is now off. So now I'm going to show you how to do it, how I would do it just with the sponge, because a lot of you don't have that acrylic block, so I'll just show you. Okay, so this ink definitely colors it. I'm going to put some water on there. There we go. Okay, and let's dry it.
And Marilyn,
Yes.
remind them too, if they wanted to just stamp that same texture, you just put more ink and stamp it again.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They didn't hear me say that.
Oh, if you wanted to do this again, it stays. Like you can just re-ink it and stamp it again. I'm just showing you all the different ways of doing it. And you can also do a secondary, I'll do it on the next one, you can do a secondary stamping and get a lighter. All right, 15. I tried I did do less than 15 seconds, but you don't get the same impression. So definitely do 15 seconds. Okay, now I'm gonna have to reheat it because I didn't have my thing ready. You have to have your stamp ready, or whatever you're impressing. You definitely have to have it ready, which I didn't. So I'm just gonna reheat that again because you can see it's cool. So you can take any background stamp, or this is a floral spray, and you can make an image on it. And I'll show you what it does. Okay. So now I don't have my acrylic block, so I'm just pressing down on it. And I'm just showing you that you can still do it this way too. And there it is. See? Works fine. Okay, so now let's get some color on here. I am going to use picked raspberry. And I'm going to use Kitsch Flamingo. Okay. And maybe put a little purple in there. Some more of this kit because I got those purple lines and I forgot my little ink blending tool. All right, so there we go. I used 3 colors on that one. So let's mist it. And push it down. And there you go. So you see how the outline, you get that outline of the stamp. I pushed too hard there. So I guess that's the advantage of the block. So that's that one. So let's just see with the block.
So what you could do, put the stamp on the block and press the stamp into the foam, because then you can control not pushing the outline in.
Well, anyways, I'm just going to show them how I can go over this again.
Yes.
Oops. So I didn't redo the impression. I'm just using the one that was there. Okay, I'm gonna spritz that. Okay, and now I'm gonna put this down and take this and push it. And there you go. Yeah, you don't get that. I think it's better with something like this. You could probably, if you have one of these too, you could push with this. Just push it down. It just gives even pressure. All right? You could use a book. You could use anything.
A big shot plate.
A big shot plate. You could use, if you don't have a block. Okay? Alrighty. So that's the stamp. So then I just wipe this off. So you don't have to have the acrylic block attached to it. You can just lay it down and then just place it on top, and that works great. Okay, so now I'm just going to take that off and heat it up. All right, and so then we are ready, and it's exactly way. Now this is the burn marks. See that? I was sort of daydreaming, I guess, thinking of my next project. So I've done this probably 25 times, and it's fine. Okay, so they'll last a long time. So we do have mini misters here. We have all the distress inks, and we have the brand new one. So then what you do is, you should see my mess here. You just cut, I'm gonna take one that's dry. So then these are cut at 4 1/4, almost 4 1/4, a little less. Probably more like 4 1/8. Okay. And let's see what else I have here. I wanted to do this one. All right, so I'll just make a card here for you. And I want to do this one. Okay. Now what I did was get all my stuff. Okay. Now I used that embossing folder prior to doing the video. So I made an impression, or put it through and made an impression. And so I cut it at 4 1/4 by, or 4 by 5 1/4. So this is called woven. You definitely need to use glue to attach this to your card because it is definitely 3D. Okay?
Now, Marilyn, we have had that one at various times before, so a lot of our people have that one in their stack.
Okay.
We even had it, I'm sure, at our old store.
Alrighty. And then I put this on top. Isn't that cool? I've got little mats cut somewhere. There we go. I'll just continue with the glue. And these are great cards to use that you can use in with die cut sayings, which I will show you. I think I have brought a couple. So we're just going to put that on there like that. And again, you need to use glue with it to make it stick. And then I had one of these. So you can just put that on. I usually would do like 3 of them together, but I just grabbed these that were on my desk this morning. So I'll just quickly put this on. But I do like making, 4 of them and layering them up. And I'll just put that on there. Oops. Like that. And there's your card. So they work really well with these large sayings. You could add some bling or something. So there's one card. Now with this card, this is, I didn't do a background on this one, I don't think. Let me check. So I can just use a regular card for this. And I'm going to put a gold. Well, that gold would look be pretty on there. And I'll just trim it off. Just leave a little border. I just want a tiny little border. Trim that off. Glue does give you a little bit of wiggle room, especially on a mirroring paper. So I'm just gonna trim that off. Put that on my card. Now, what I did was I cut out one of the, I cut this out of the thing. Okay, so I thought I could just put that on, and that's what I did on my other one. So I'm just gonna put some glue on here. If you're using a thicker paper, you can actually make the impression out of the die, out of this cutout. If you were using a thicker paper, it would make a nice thickness, and then you could just do that instead of using the die. So I'm just gonna stick this on here. Maybe like that. Trim it off.
I'm kind of a beginner at this. Okay. Because I've noticed she's shown me her book where she's got some really neat things that she's taken.
There we go. Cut this off a bit. Oh well, I'm not going to fiddle with it. And then you can just put that on your card. And put a sentiment of some sort on. What do I have here? Smile. So put that on. These were just on my desk at home. So just thought I'd bring them in. just do a quick card. I don't know where my picker-upper is. There we go. Whoops. There. That was a quick card. Okay, so there's our 2 cards for today. And you should see my mess I have here. Okay, so that's using the stamping foam. We have a couple left. We had 24 of them. I think we just have a few left, but we have another order coming. So hopefully that'll come soon. All right. So it's lots of fun, as you can see. It's very addicting, for sure. And how long does the foam last? I don't know. I just got it, so I've used it probably 25 times already. So, and it's still probably got another 25 in them. I don't know. I don't know what happens. I guess because it's brand new, I really don't know how long it's going to last. But obviously it's going to last quite a while if I've used it 25 times already. Okay? All right, so that's that. So I hope you give it a try. It's lots of fun. And you can use all sorts of things. Another thing I thought of using, and I was going to, and I totally forgot, is I could have used, this is that, you know, it stops things from slipping. So I probably could have made an impression on it using that and stamped it. You can, if you've got, I don't know, anything. I don't know if it would work on this wood grain. I'll have to try it, because this has got a texture to it. It might work on that. I'm not sure. But you can try, you know, just not crafting things. You can try non-crafting things. So I used stencil, stamp, embossing folder, metal die, and they all work. Okay? All right. So if you are on the master list, you will get the instructions tonight. If you're not on my master list and want to be, to get my daily instructions, just send me your email. And if you just want the instructions for today's class, you can just put that in the comments. All right? Okay, so tomorrow, I don't think I brought the card. Anyways, tomorrow I'm doing the one using the Colorado Craft Company. Happy New Year, but I'm using it as a birthday card, and it is a little hidden interactive card. So I think that'll be lots of fun. So here you go. So that's your stamping foam and all the cards that I've made. Lots of them. That's an ombre look. So ideas are endless. I hope you give it a try, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.